We highlighted on the show yesterday in a confrontational interview with John Minto an ad that was approved to be run in the evening in the Dom of the Post yesterday, tab post they should call it, on page 2 of the Post, which made the outrageous claim that there is genocide and ethnic cleansing by the Israelis in Gaza, or by the Israeli government in Gaza, called for the boycott of Israel and the expulsion of the Israeli ambassador. No matter how you slice or dice, and we talked to John Minto who ran the ad, and we find out that it was actually part of him grifting for people just to give him money. For what purpose, we do not know. But there is no doubt that an ad like that feeds into a global trend at the moment of what is called anti-Semitism, hatred or prejudice against people of the Jewish faith. There is no doubt that that is what that ad yesterday was designed to do. Given that Stuff, as a publisher, has refused to run ads for Family First, for Speak Up for Women, who we just spoke to, and to Julian Batchelor's Stop Co-Governance movement, we sought some explanation as to how that ad got run. We have had nothing from Stuff, from Joanna Norris, from Tracy Watkins, or from Sinead Boucher. Complete crickets. And I did also opine that I believe under several parts of the Advertising Standards Authority's Code of Ethics and Stuff's part of that it was in breach of advertising standards in New Zealand. Well, I can say all I want, but my question is what impact or what was the impression of that ad from New Zealand's Jewish community? And only 10,000 Jewish people in New Zealand are a minority, and one that has been doing it hard of late, particularly when we have people wearing the kefir in our parliament and Rent-A-Mob being sold by Mr. Minto $12 Palestinian flags and chanting whatever they're told to by the people with the megaphones. We're joined now by Ben Kepes from the New Zealand Jewish Council to discuss this. Ben, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Sean. Nice to chat with you.
All right. I first want your opinion and the Jewish Council's opinion of that advertisement.
Yes, so, I mean, the first thing to say is any human being would absolutely mourn any civilian death. So, I want to be clear that anything we say doesn't diminish suffering, both in Israel and in Gaza. But we think that the word genocide is a very specific word.
And ethnic cleansing is quite a specific term too.
Absolutely. And there's two issues there. There's an issue of law and there's an issue of fact. From a legal perspective, the term has a very specific meaning and shouldn't be bandied around just willy-nilly. Like it's a specific thing and shouldn't be used before someone or a country is found guilty. But as a matter of fact, which is probably the more relevant thing, how on earth can anyone call it Gaza? It's tragic. Can call it genocide. It's tragic, the death toll in Gaza. Having said that, the death toll as a percentage is tiny. Israel is warning Gazans when it's going to drop bombs. All of these things.
Ben, rather than get into that argument, I want to talk about the fact that the ad was run in Stuff. Do you believe it should have been in the form it appeared?
So, I mean, there's two aspects to that, right? We believe in free speech. We believe people should be able to say things. That should be on an equal basis from all sides. And so clearly, there's a degree of bias in terms of what different people are able to say. It's hurtful. It is absolutely anti-Semitism. It's wrong. We agree that it's breach of the advertising standards because those are false claims. What we are focused on is ensuring that the New Zealand public actually understand the nuance rather than just screaming slogans.
Okay, but you can, and as much as you believe in free speech, and good on you, Stuff have signed up to the Advertising Standards Authority's Code of Conduct. They are subject to it, and they choose to be subject to it. Will the Jewish Council consider a complaint against Stuff under those?
No, I understand what you're saying. That's something for the Jewish Council to discuss and look at, and we are discussing that. I think that, let's say we went down that path and we were successful, and who knows if we would be successful. That's something of a Pyrrhic victory, because at the end of the day, the damage has been done. So our focus is totally and utterly on ensuring that the New Zealand public understand the situation so they can make a determination of them, on their own, despite what John Minto and his cronies do.
Yeah. Are you interested that John Minto's asking for money as a result of that ad, and it appears to be going to a bank account that isn't a part of any legal entity? I was concerned that the money he gathered, given his views, could be going back to Hamas.
I don't, it's not appropriate for me to comment on John Minto. I know the guy. He has a long history of advocacy in New Zealand. John Minto, in my experience, isn't particularly concerned about the minutiae of facts. He's more interested in screaming and shouting and going for maximum impact. So it's not my place to question the PSNA or whatever they call themselves. I'll leave it to others to investigate that.
Ben, I had hoped to have someone from Stuff On this morning to talk with you. They haven't. They've gone, radio silence. They've gone quiet. What would you say to Joanna Norris, Tracy Watkins, Sinead Boucher from Stuff about running this ad? What would your message be to them if you could, give one to them?
Yeah, so I know all three of those women, and they're great women, and they're women that truly believe